What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I'm just enjoying this beautiful Saturday in California. I'm getting my boxing fix. I just streamed Amir Khan and Julio Diaz. I want to spend some time talking about this. If you guys don't want to be fair critics, or you're just a diehard Amir Khan fan, so nothing that is said constructively or negatively about him is going to be something you agree with, you might as well hit stop, because I will give a fair shake and my fair assessment of this fight. So without further ado, this was a way more competitive fight than I anticipated. I just don't really know. I didn't know what to expect with Diaz. His last fight against Sean Porter was a good fight. He fought to a draw. He just hasn't looked spectacular over the years. So it's kind of like a Zab Judah situation where someone has an up and down career and you don't really know what version of them is going to appear. Plus, he's getting older in age. He's been professional since the 90s. So I just didn't know what Diaz was, and he was coming down to a catch weight to fight Amir Khan at a catch weight. So I really didn't know what to expect. I did give him a shot, as I said in my video. Everybody has a shot, especially someone like him, because he is a heavy-handed puncher and he's fighting from a higher division. But every other disadvantage was pretty much against him. He was fighting in Sheffield, England, which is Amir Khan's backyard. Amir Khan's from England. He was coming down in weight. You guys know how catch weights can affect the body. Usually results in fighters being tired or fatiguing, different things like that. And his last couple performances, his last fight was a draw, so he had a lot of disadvantages going in the fight. But I will give Diaz a lot of credit because he stood his ground. He took some shots early, and as far as this fight, I didn't even score it. I was streaming it. I normally score the big fights, but usually on my TV, but I was streaming it from my computer. Didn't score it, so I don't have all the accurate round numbers. I just want to hurry up and get this video out. But an overall synopsis: Amir Khan, the first couple of rounds he started off really sharp. He was doing good movement. He was putting a lot of punches together, like combination punches, and I don't know what it is, but he was using in my opinion, he was using way too much energy. He was exerting too much energy moving around. And it's kind of a catch-22. Amir Khan has a style that it's a huge gamble, like how he used to fight. He used to overwhelm his opponents and then put together punches with blistering hand speed, and more of an ambush fighter, like da-da-da-da, and then ambush him. And that was successful. It got him to this point. Now with Virgil Hunter, this is why it's a catch-22. I see the changes that Virgil Hunter's doing, but it makes his performances look a lot less spectacular because the way he's fighting with Virgil Hunter is causing Khan to be more reserved, be more cautious, and ultimately that's what he needs. But it's like I said, a catch-22. Because Amir's natural style, I think, is to be that ambush-style fighter, use his speed, and overwhelm people. I don't consider the Carlos Molina fight because he really blew Carlos Molina out, but Carlos Molina didn't really give him much to respect in terms of he was an undefeated fighter, yeah, but he was a fighter from 135 pounds, moving up to 140, and he had over 20 fights with only 7 knockouts. He didn't really have a high knockout ratio, much punching power. So, of course, Amir Khan will run through a much smaller, a less hard-hitting puncher like Carlos Molina. Now, with Diaz, different ballgame. You got someone from a higher weight class, and they're coming down in weight, and they have punching power, and they're pretty seasoned. His brother was a fighter. His brother currently trains him, as well as Timothy Bradley and some other people, Omar Figueroa. So he comes from a fight family. It's a different beast. Ultimately, this is my assessment. Amir Khan, like I said, he did box better the first half, but I think possibly it reminded me of Miguel Cotto versus Margarito Part 2. If you watch that fight again, Miguel Cotto was expending a lot of energy to keep Margarito, the pressure fighter, the come-forward fighter who was kind of eating his punches. He was using up a lot of energy on his bike. And then towards the later rounds, it looked like the conditioning and the fatigue was starting to set in because Cotto looked a lot slower. he didn't look as crisp as he did earlier in the fight. So that's where it becomes dangerous, because Margarito endured everything that Khan gave, and he never got knocked down in the fight. Amir Khan got knocked down, I think it was in the 4th round, by Diaz. And I think his plan was to, Diaz's plan, and this is where it was to a fault. Diaz's plan seemed like, I'm a bigger guy, I'm a stronger puncher, I'm going to bully this guy and weather whatever his storm is, cause him to slow down and take him out in the later rounds. And he almost did that. He had Khan hurt several times throughout this fight, mostly in the second half of the fight. Again, there was a knockdown. It could have been a combination of being tripped up and off balance, but they were flush punches, so I don't think anyone can dispute that they were knockdowns. And then later in the fight, he was very, very close. I think rounds 8, 10, and 11. Very, very close. 12, there were some moments of danger for Khan. And he was very close to knocking, I think in the 11th, really close to knocking Khan down or out. The catch weight wasn't really beneficial to him, because usually with catch weights, you have fatigue issues. And another thing is Diaz was literally having to chase Amir Khan most of the fight. Amir Khan was... And I'm not, this is just what it is. I'm not complaining. If Amir Khan has to do whatever he has to do to win. So if that's his fight style, then Diaz would have to work on cutting off the ring. But I don't want to hear anyone say like Martinez ran from Chavez, or he was a ballerina, or Rigondeaux ran from Nonito, because neither of those two fighters, what they did in their respective fights was anything close to what Amir Khan was doing. Amir Khan was really on his bicycle most of the fight. And again, you got to do what you got to do to win, and it's the other fighter's responsibility, obligation to counteract that and come up with a game plan to cut off the ring or force the pressure. Another thing where Diaz, in my opinion, messed up is early in the fight, he lost pretty much all those rounds, probably because portion of it was Khan's blistering hand speed, and that is going to take adjustment for any fighter. When someone has fast hands, that's just leather constantly hitting you. It creates abrasions and scrapes, and it really roughs up your skin. So that's part of the reason. And I don't know. He just never really opened up early on. It's similar to Andre Berto versus Robert Guerrero. If you watch that fight, Berto looked like shit in the early portion of that fight. He wasn't really letting his hands go. He wasn't really putting together punches. And then he tried to come on, but it was too little too late. That's kind of what Diaz did. He would have needed to knock his man down again at least, or knock him out to win, because he let so many rounds go by early. Again, it was a great fight. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. Props to Amir Khan for not getting knocked out. Even though he was in danger, he did definitely fight a lot more sensibly than he has in the past. But in my honest opinion, I see Amir Khan having trouble. They should get the whole Mayweather thing out of their head and out of their system, because I think Mayweather will piece Amir Khan up. Amir Khan fighting Diaz was a tough fight, and that's at a catch weight. If Amir were to fight Mayweather, I don't think Mayweather would come down to 140 or come out to a catch weight. Why would he? He's the pound for pound guy. So I don't really see why Mayweather would bend the rules or have to give in to prerequisites that Khan selects when Khan doesn't have a belt or whatever. So most likely that fight, if they were to fight, would take place at 147. And like I said, it wouldn't be a catch weight. And I just see Mayweather's accuracy really just destroying Khan, to be honest. He may have some problems early, just like any fighter, just because of the blistering hand speed and Mayweather's age. But ultimately, I can't see Khan beating him. And even the guys at 140, I mean, he has his hands full. He has Lamont Peterson, who seems hungry as ever with that whole testosterone steroid scandal. Danny Garcia is a known power puncher, and his timing is really good. His counter punching is really good, and we'll see how he looks tonight against Zab Judah. But as far as Khan getting that rematch, I mean, good luck. It's not impossible. Khan was definitely outboxing Danny Garcia early, but some people, it wouldn't be at a catch weight again. It'll be a weight that Danny Garcia is comfortable with. Danny Garcia, aside from Diaz, is a lot younger, and arguably with no catch weight, Danny Garcia hits harder than Diaz. I mean, I don't know. I've never been in the ring with both of them, but everything would be a lot more natural. And again, Danny Garcia has age on his factor, whereas Diaz was 33 So he was definitely the and he's been through wars, so he was definitely the older fighter in this fight. Lamont Peterson, another thing, like if you've seen how he looked against Kendall Holt, that's really, I see it being a problem for Amir Khan because it's a rematch. The first one was controversial, so I see Lamont Peterson just really making it a dogfight early and bringing critical pressure. And to beat a fighter with hand speed and someone that fights in the fashion Amir Khan does, I think that timing and pressure and making them uncomfortable is really one of the keys. And Amir Khan still looks susceptible to certain punches. The left hook, Danny Garcia is great at that. Another fighter that I see Amir Khan not getting past is Lucas Matisse. You guys can say he's overrated or whatever you think about Lucas Matisse. I happen to enjoy Lucas Matisse. Both of his losses are arguable. Zab Judah. If anybody beat him, I would say Zab did, but even then, I have to watch that fight again because I think I had Lucas winning that fight in a close fight because he got off to a late start in that fight. Lucas Matisse did, but I definitely think he should have beat Devin Alexander, but they were fighting in Devin Alexander's hometown, so who knows. But anyway, Lucas Matisse, he's very patient. He's a huge puncher at 140, and he goes to the body, something that Diaz didn't do. Diaz didn't really, again, he never really opened up until he had Amir Khan hurt. He wasn't really establishing a jab. He wasn't really going to the body. He didn't really do anything right consistently until he had Amir Khan hurt. And I think that was Diaz's undoing. He was just kind of getting outboxed and hit with combination punches, but obviously it wasn't enough to knock him down or hurt him. And then it was kind of like waiting for that big money shot or waiting for Amir Khan to get tired. So that's why it was a closer fight because he was getting outboxed that whole duration. And you can't do that. You got to let your hands go a little bit, and you can't rely on one punch. And I think if Diaz would have invested into the body, he might have been able to stop Amir Khan, who's been doing his strength and conditioning with Victor Conte. So it was a good fight, though. I enjoyed it. Props to Amir Khan. He did win. It was a close fight. Diaz definitely didn't do himself any disservices after a performance. Basically, if he got shut out like Carlos Molina got shut out against Khan, I would say that Diaz might as well just hang it up. But I think based on this performance against someone who is considered or mentioned in the boxing community, he's definitely opened the floodgate for other fights at probably 147. I would assume he'll go back to his normal weight class. But I would definitely watch another Diaz fight based on that performance. I think he just needs to crispen up on opening up and not letting so many of the rounds slip away early, to the point where when you did have your man hurt, which he did several times, it's not so close. One of the judges had it Amir Khan up by 1 round, and I think the other 2 judges had it like 115 to 112, something like that. But it was a unanimous decision in favor of Khan. Again, it's a catch-22 with Khan's new training because him being less aggressive and less go for the gusto, machismo, it hurts him, but it also helps him. It prevents him from getting knocked out because he's not as reckless, but he also doesn't look as good. And again, he was using a ton of energy, just kind of skipping around, using his legs for the duration. So, I mean, obviously he has some pretty good conditioning in his legs, but that's just my assessment. If you guys watched it, if you streamed it like I did, let me know what you guys think of it. Entertaining fight. I'm definitely ready for the rest of the fights tonight. What's next for Amir Khan in your eyes? Let me know something. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Until next videos, Ego signing off.